Team Heretics versus Navi. We are on the Dragon Force map. I don't believe we're going to see Drake on the map, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him either. The flyovers have been very sick this month. There's the Crow that I mentioned before. A double IMS ban as well. While she's not necessarily the tippy top like she was last month when her Buffy was introduced, since the nerfs, I would still say she's a borderline top 10-ish brawler, especially at the professional level. So expect to see her a lot either in the ban stage or the pick stage today.
And you were right with the Crow ban. Just want to point that out real quick.
Oh, thank you. I mean, he's one of the top brawlers. I fully anticipate, especially if he's not hitting the global bans, he's going to be banned a ton.
Yeah, Stanley's still open here, so following from what Stanley said, first pick for Navi. Let's go. Love to see it. That's why we're here. Definitely high consideration towards a potential Tara here, actually, as well, for Team Heretics, as that's one that does tend to leave the ban stage quite open. Otis is still here, but with the Mortis and Bull global ban, whether or not it will be something of an option is left to be debated. Definitely surprised for that Pearl ban, by the way, on the side there of Navi, but it is a brawler pick, which Team Heretics do like to favour quite heavily, so Bo could certainly be a brawler here, which is also viable. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Again, I think Otis is going to escape through. So it just allows a little bit more of that insurance policy. The fact Splatter, of course, can get some good value also on the gadget side.
Once again, a really bushy map, so you want area control. M spanned out, that means Terra and Sandy are even better now. Otis, Spike, anything with spray. Ember's one of those brawlers that we've seen quite a lot last year. I feel she's not in the best spot at the moment, but she can still be played on the right-hand side. She's also not too bad into a Spike because of his gadget. You can't really penetrate it with so many other brawlers. Janet is going to come in here in mid, a brawler that we have not seen last month whatsoever. We've seen her quite a lot yesterday, and she used to be, together with Sandy, the best gem carrier on the map previously, thanks to either just getting out of harm's way with one of her gadgets, the other gadget gives you more vision. She's just perfectly made for this map.
Yeah, it's something we talked about at the top. I mean, we didn't necessarily see it at the time, but yesterday it showed up a lot. Janet just makes too much sense here, and especially into the Sandy. Clearly, both of these teams are prioritizing vision. Now that we've seen this as well, Sandy makes a ton of sense as a first overall pick. With IMS out of the way in the ban stage and Pearl, when you see Pearl, traditionally it is going to be to outrange the Sandy. It's for that right side lane so you can gain the extra vision. Obviously, the burning shot can give you a little extra dose in the bushes as well. Max Sandy, long time synergy, no problem with this at all.
I mean, Jean Max Sandy, possibly. I mean, Jean's kind of dropped off a little bit. Okay, Rosa Max Sandy was not on my bingo card. That is a wild brawler pick to, like, I mean, Rosa in the BSC now, it really is in a tough place. I'm looking actually forward to seeing Rosa with some buffies. I think she needs that more than ever. It can work. But I mean, you know, we kind of are like just an amber pick away from kind of leaving Rosa having all her bushes burned down. So, I mean, that's the third and final pick that could come up here.
Definitely true. Ember would be the pick now. It's going to be Kenny Scale, though. He's celebrating. I agree with you, though. I would have liked to see the Ember just specifically against the Rosa. Really like the brawler, by the way. And Rosa's going to profit so much of both the maxed speed and the Sandy ults. If they manage to cycle ults well on that red-hand side, they will do so well, and Rolls are just basically going to be in the opponent's spawn the whole time.
Yeah, Gale is traditionally going to do well into Sandy just because of the outrange, and especially if they run the star power that allows you to slow down enemies, it can be solid into Rosa. Navi made some changes. Been a lot of drama in this region, just in general with roster mania, even in rage switching sides. Simply must-watch television, folks. A long-time rivalry, iChaos versus Drage. Here we go, quarterfinals number 2.
A lot of emotions, for sure. Two former teammates. So far, it is Navi that are building their forts. Rosa bushes now, making that little bridge that I'm sure once the gadget refreshes as well, they will continue to do so. But that Gale is going to be really, really on point. Marco's going to have his work cut out for him for sure to stay on top of this.
Yeah, operating on that left-hand side lane, especially with all the grass going down, Marco's going to be nice just to cut off that entire side, at least get a scouting report. Garo has dangerous intentions, though. Look at him on the right-hand side. Already has that gadget pre-popped, just waiting patiently to see if iChaos will poke out his little head. Face shift back for Enraged. That's a nice benefit of something like Max. You always have a gadget in your back pocket to get away. It's something similar. That's why Janet is picked. She's got a gadget that can escape with a little bunny hop, or she can go to the sky. Now Marco seemingly making a move, trying to keep Rosa away. She really hasn't been able to encroach at all.
Yeah, this is my concern. You know, ultimately, Rosa is the play. Some gems dropped here. Heretics not pressurizing things too much. Just a little bit from the right-hand side, allowing Drake to go straight through the middle whilst the beam's in the air. Taken care of quite easily so. They've got the gems. I mean, Navi have got 7.
While Drage did die, he bought a lot of space, but unfortunately Marco is just going to have to press up against this wall and hope to push them back. Easy super right there on the right-hand end. IKaos now walking up this right-hand side. Drage low HP, doesn't elect to use a super or a hypercharge. Now it's complete for Team Heretics. IKaos able to slip by, grab a few gems. This is completely now on the blue roster's end.
Yeah, it's falling apart. Drage has got hypercharge though. Marco has himself that. And on defense, Gale wins on that side of things. Cycling to perfection also. Navi, you're not even going to try to run this down. There is no time to get these gems back. And not the greatest of ends to that game. I thought that Navi had some nice ideas, but coming down to the nitty-gritty, I mean, what can they realistically do against this Gale pick?
The longevity of Rosa is something I'm definitely concerned about, and it's why we always talk about in a ranked setting. I think a lot of the times when you think of Bull and BB in this current meta, sure, on ladder they are excellent. They are the top-tier brawlers in this game. But in a draft setting, you have time to react, especially if you don't pick it as a 6 overall selection. So I think getting this Gale pick at the very end works on multiple lanes, even if they try and mix it up here. Garo's not necessarily going to have an easy time into Marco, and sure, Drage occupied a lot of space, took a lot of time off the clock, but ultimately all it took was 1 kill and Team Heretics had it in the bag.
I want to see that camera shot again. I think on the whiteboard it said unacceptable mistakes. They're like a list of stuff.
Yeah.
Get your notepads out and your pens at home, guys, and make some notes. Could be helpful for you. So far, again, it's that same setup, isn't it, really, for Navi here, with Drage on the left-hand side trying to build those bushes. And Marco just doing his best to earn super, which he now has. In the meanwhile, 5 gems to Sabine, and already a super to hand allows that escape mechanism.
Garo's just never really been able to take on this right-hand side. Now IKaos surrounding them on both ends. Max alone just can't do this, but Drage now plotting. You can see him lurking, bottom left-hand side of that grass wall. And Rage is taking heavy fire. Drage is waiting patiently, just trying to find a shot. Going against Marco, pushed away though. That's the benefit of Gale. Even if Drage gets up close, they always have a way to back him off.
Enraged now, creeping towards this gem. Sabine might get some good shots here with the blossoming blow of the Gale as well. Now Drage with the gems, can't get all of them, some left behind. And again, it's Heretics with the steal. Just don't have much confidence in a reset.
Yeah, Navi gonna have to do their best to walk this up the mid, but 10 gems in Sabine's pocket, a phase shift forward, Marco there to meet them in a hypercharge super, a double, and even a little Gale NATO for extra measure. Team Heretics once again starting exactly like they did a month ago in the monthly qualifiers, up 1-0, and it was not close.
And I just think a fundamental error, really. Yeah, unacceptable mistakes there. Like, let's take a few notes of that later. I think for me, Navi there, an unacceptable mistake is to draft Rosa prior to the third and final pick on their opposition side. I mean, obviously Team Heretics can see the big picture. They've got options. I mean, there was Amber, there was Gale, there was so many brawler picks and ideas, and maybe even Shelly, if it wasn't banned out, that they could have gone for there. I mean, Rosa is just not that brawler. She just has so little weight. It could be a strat which a team are not expecting, but I think anyone at this level of play, when they see that brawler, they can just go with the counter, and they just couldn't do anything with it. It was a loose pair of hands.
I'm open to a lot of different ideas in Brawl esports in general. I mean, these pros are the best of the best. This is a very old-timey selection. It's just shades of 2022 with the Max and a Sandy, and then on top of that, Rosa. Those two make sense. If you're going to pick the Rosa, though, again, my biggest critique would be, why do it at a 5th pick when there's a clear amount of time? They've already drafted anti-tank with the mute button and Otis. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And again, as somebody who loves Gale with all their heart, that's not necessarily a top selection in the game. I actually ended up asking IKaos about this board on the background. It was one of the things I noticed as well. I thought, hey, is this just a thing that you're doing this month, or is this after last month, are we making adjustments? He's like, nope, we do this every month. This is what we do. That's the level of mentality it takes. And I think having somebody like a veteran in him leading these two is going to make them better ultimately.
Wow. Regardless, either way, going into the second set, I need to see more from Navi to feel like this has potential of going the distance. Definitely, I would say that this map is a bit more catered towards Navi in terms of their scrims and their preparations. They had a 62% win rate on it, so let's see how they fare. Brawlers like Chester, Otis, I'm looking to kind of see them be quite heavily banned out here. I think Otis for sure is a benefit to both sides here. Poco, Gale again, I think it's not the last we're going to see of that potential brawler. Could be here for sure. Let's see as well. Kenji's definitely going to be up there, I feel, now with Immortus ban. It's going to be an option. Ali as well. Those are the brawlers which, when Immortus is banned, as we're seeing already today, consecutive global bans of Mo, the Ali, the Ruffs banned out there on the side of Navi. the M's, the Crow, and the Otis. Yeah, good Crow ban there as well for Team Heretics taking their chances. The first pick of Chester. Nice.
Yeah, in terms of the first overall pick, a lot of the times you'll see an anti-take come out just to prepare yourself. Right now, that feels to me on this map specifically, a lot of the times it is either Chester or Spike is another one I'll see. With Leon in the global bans, that would be another one I think teams would consider. And then you could clearly see, I mean, who has the first overall pick? Crow band on the left-hand side, Otis, who you mentioned before, M still a powerful brawler. This one's more of niche selections. Mo going to be a goal scorer going out of the way. Even though they have an anti-tank, it's still Team Heretics trusting in this BB, going ahead and locking it up, especially with Bull out of the way. These are typically your top two beefy options if you want to go at the other end.
Yeah, and BB still could be paired nicely with the Poco as well as a final pick potentially here for Team Heretics. Now back over to Navi. You might want to consider just taking it off the cards, to be completely honest, or they bring in something like a Spike just for safety, really. They've got to have a good answer to that BB regardless. It could be potentially the Gale as well. That wouldn't be the worst of ideas. It's a good shutdown maneuver, especially with that M's being banned. That's kind of like the one that I'd prefer to have on that lane side. Anything with the Gale. Yeah, it has to be something like that. And maybe, again, maybe Poker wouldn't have the best synergy, but I'm just worried that if left untouched, it could be the final pick here for Team Heretics.
I wonder if this is Max again, to be honest with you. I think Gale and Max typically have some pretty solid synergy. They need something that's more of a mid, if you will. The one thing they're lacking, though, is a goal scorer. I mean, BV has enough beef to where she can kind of knock people back, at least have an opportunity. It's not free by any means, but I think that's something that this squad lacks. Just a little bit of fireworks, something that's a playmaker, if you will.
Final pick now, coming in for Navi. We're going to be going with agility and speed. It's going to be Stu coming in, which, of course, having the choice between the wall break or the speed zone, both are a really, really good gadget to have. So if they do run into issues with the BB pushing up, using those walls to their advantage, then it could be something to helping hand this. But I'm liking the Meeple, I'm liking the BB combination. The question is how they're going to be combining this, especially with that Otis ban, as it kind of would be quite a nice pairing with the Otis and the Meeple if that wasn't the case. Do they go with the heals? Do they go with support or control again? Like I said with the Spike. Charlie, they want to shut this down even more so, which, you know, was flown around a lot yesterday in East Asia, and I wasn't overly convinced. But like in East Asia, they were basically just picking it every single set and just kind of hoping for it to work out. But the Cocoon, regardless, that is really where Charlie is quite key. And in Brawl Ball, shutting down the goal scoring opportunity is kind of where that's quite important to do.
I imagine the Spiderlings are their way of dealing with Stu specifically. I think they bring this in. It's solid at stopping incoming offenses as well. I think it's a fine pick, nothing wrong with it. Charlie in general, I think it's just a solid shout overall. Team Heretics starting out very well. A convincing set number one after what I would call a definite draft error coming out of Navi. This time round, an opportunity at redemption. Can Navi finally showcase what this enraged roster change can do?
Okay, a little weak speed soak then for the Stu. So we're pushing the ball around to the right-hand side. Drage going to heal up here. Very low HP. Sabine taking an assertive role on the left-hand side, ensuring that no flank is left untouched by him. Spiderlings go out, which again will be something of a bit of a struggle for the Stu, but Gero can just keep this up. Boxed in now, though, and now Marco can surely go for some big, heavy taps, but oh, yeah, he will seal it as well. Nice.
Very good roster kill there. iChaos and Marco with a little tag team, while Sabine just hangs high. Hasn't been able to move up this left-hand side lane. We're going to see something similarly. While BB is definitely a better brawler than Rosa, it'd still be difficult. Drage can keep the distance, slow them down from the other end, and especially with that pushback, and just keep BB at an arm's length, which is very important when somebody has a baseball bat swinging at you.
A nice hill there for the back of Trix from the Chester, keeping Enraged alive out of the Cocoon, but now down to 810 HP. One shot for Marco is all it takes. And now Gero and Drake from the defense is not going to be necessarily a good thing with the amount of damage going down, but a blustery blow from Drage will just about seal the defense.
Insanely good stuff. Gale, one of the best goalkeepers in Brawl Stars, between the Twister and also the pushback. There is always an opportunity if you've got at least one of the utility in your pocket. Now occupation in the middle from Navi. Red roster just completely consuming this as iChaos is once again forced back on defense. Team Heretics, I think, had a real opportunity at scoring there, so the fact that they let one go, definitely a devastating blow.
High charge for Marco now, and this is going to be potentially dangerous, but Gero is all over it. And the support of his teammates is there also. Rage has got super. Is that a bomb? That's the question. Can they break some cover here? The ball to Rage. He's got super as well, but shut down, slowed! And the ball cleared up the line by Marco.
Another opportunity this time for Navi, but the respawn just in the nick of time. Marco was able to stop it. Sabine now taking off this right-hand end. Has to branch out, gain a little space for his teammates, because otherwise iChaos and Marco are just going to be stuffed in spawn.
Does Enraged have the stun then, or potentially just that area control for slow as well for defense purposes? But regardless, it wasn't something that gave too much of an opportunity for Navi in that moment there. Hypercharge available for Gary, forces it out now and avoids the Manchester People gadget, goes straight for Marco here. This could be dangerous. And Navi now with that right hand side lane as well, clearing up Hypercharge for Drage as well. This should be a goal realistically here. But Lamandale shoot there, the Cocoon with 8 seconds left of play. Navi should be able to get this game.
Good as done. No supers available for Team Heretics, no super speed, none of the like. Just a nice knockdown there towards the end of game number 1. I talked about Gale on defense as a great goal scorer, or excuse me, as a great defender, but now on the goal scoring side as well, you can use the mechanic where you just push the enemies back. The only reason it didn't work that first time is because there was a respawn, invincible in that moment, but that was the right idea in general, especially with the hypercharge. Again, as somebody who plays Gale a lot, definitely not an S tier kind of brawler, but in a draft setting, clearly he's got some validity. We saw it in set number 1, and now we're seeing it sign even on Brawl Ball.
And I kind of prefer the comp here, to be honest, to Team Heretics. I feel like it has a lot of weight, but it's just a map which they just didn't really kind of gel with in their scrims as well as Navi, who really thrived off the back of their results. So far, Navi gaining some confidence, showing that they can really bring a fight to the table there, and a nice shutdown there of Enraged onto Sabine, who forced the hand with the BB.
Lou looked like super was perfectly timed, and Rage was able to escape with a little HP. Garo trying to back away. Part of the influence, I'm sure, for this Stu pick is from a long-time counter into BB has been this Stu. Charges super so easily, can dash away, so Beam's going to miss that baseball swing more time than not.
Well, Marco just utilizing this moment of downtime here to try to land some shots. Recycling that gadget is going to be so crucial and important to be able to try to bring the ball forwards. There's a lot of pressure being applied here from Navi, opening up some space. It's a hypercharge from Marco there, going straight forwards. Ball push through from Chaos. Spy and Ling's out. Can they find the opportunity here? There's a lot of damage going down. Enraged is low, but Gary's still standing to help this Gasser Hill. This is essential to allow a defense.
Navi now with the ball in hand, left-hand side. Drade's going to be trying to back down Sabine once again. A constant matchup that they're looking for. A double box, though, and Marco has a super available, too. Letting it rain in the middle of the map. Navi don't stand a chance. Low HP for Drage, and now it's a 3v1. A lone Stu. Might as well be a single-shot brawler at this point. No chance that Garo can get this stop. Team Heretics with their first goal.
Little pass the ball to try to allow Sabine to get a couple more swipes of that baseball bat. He wants to high charge, but already a lovely connection there with his super. Garrett just trying to heal up in the middle of the box here and doing a pretty decent job with the help of the hypercharge, but nonetheless goes down now, and it's still a 3 versus 2, and Navi have got to defend this. Sabine with that hypercharge, when he goes, it's go time for Heretics.
High on Drage to see if he can get a super in time. All of a sudden, Team Heretics being corralled to the back spawn. They know Garo has a super available, so he's going to try and advance. Speed zone going down, Enraged, right-hand side, looking out for Sabine. It's another anti-tank brawler that can deal quite well with her.
Ball being put through. Sabine needs to use this utility on defense. Marco is low here as well, and Navi are creeping forwards. Enraged also has a hypercharge, but no super just yet. With a high, but Chester, he's got it now. He can cycle with Drage, will score it regardless, and tie this one up early, right in the nick of time. So they got that hypercharge on Chester now in overtime.
And BB also has one as well. We'll see who wins the battle there. A complete miss out of Enraged, and he's wasted that super. Marco's going to go, but there's a super pass available for iChaos. Nails it on that right-hand side and allows Sabine to walk on in. Couple little mistakes there in overtime, and it cost Navi.
Yeah, it really did. Unacceptable mistakes there I saw, I think.
Are you reading the book on the wall?
I'm reading the book on the wall,
Look, I'm trying to learn too. Anything would help.
Bad attitude was on there, by the way.
So can't have that. None of that.
None of that from you today.
No, you know what? I'll be better about that. I know I've had a real attitude issue with this show, but...
Well, you're injured. We'll allow it.
I've been quite the diva, huh?
What a match, though. What a set. This really is a very important, decisive moment now for Navi, because they cannot afford to go 2 sets down here, so they do need to equalize things out. They've got a real prospect with this comp to do so. They just dropped the ball a little bit too much in that last instance. Now as Garrett pushing his right hand side. Speem now low, running the damage gear as well, so a little heal from Enraged to bring the ball forwards will go a long way.
Small change up from Navi as well. Chester kind of working alongside this Gale on the left hand end against BB, while Garo encroaches on the right hand side, in and out. That's Stu's main game. A passive aggressive playstyle, drop the speed zone for a little bit of extra coverage, dips down, cocooned, and surrounded by the mansions of Meeple. Thankfully for them, Marco doesn't have a super, otherwise Garo would have been a goner.
Gary's had a rough game, hasn't he, really? He's always within that Manchester People box. Marco low, though. Gary survives with the gassing heal as well. Will stay in position and just feed off the back of Sabine, who's popping a vitamin pill himself now, so he'll be getting to a healthy amount of 10,000 HP plus with the help of that shield gear. Now his teammates back in the mix. Speed zone going down for Navi. They're pushing this forward slowly, as quickly as that. Heretics just dismantle it.
Drake shimmies around the mansions of Meeple. Super goes down for Marco just to put some pressure on the enemy teams. It's not going to lead to much. It backs them down a little bit, but they're still maintaining in the midfield. Asgaro once again repositioned. Left-hand side. Marco will get a couple chip shots in there, but that's a bit out of the Super, so now they're going to substitute BB in on this left-hand end. iChaos trying to throw down as many Spiderlings as possible. Even popping a Hypercharge. Must have a Super on the way. There it is. Garo once again being captured. Nice timed Enrage Super out of the hat. He pulls the poison. Marco Hypercharge can walk through this wall. Enrage tried to grab the ball, but still went down. Excellent team play out of Team Heretics to knock one in. Navi are running out of time, and they desperately need this set. Otherwise, they're down 0-2.
This is a really dangerous moment now that Navi have got to capitalize on and turn things around. 30 seconds now on the clock. Marco boxed in Gary yet again. Puts down the speed zone, but again, in that box, Marco can really spend some time to target it. 20 seconds. Navi have got to find some utility here. There's a hypercharge cycle potential here for Enrage now. Can Chaos be able to survive in this position? No! Ball goes in. There's still 10 seconds left, but that was so crucial for Navi to get right.
Clutch gameplay out of Navi, and the walls will once again come down. This is where Navi had issues in the previous game. A Mansions of Meeple, no contact. Rage is able to get by. Lots of supers available as Enrage puts one there. Ball suddenly on the bottom of the screen. Not even going to pretend like I understand how that happened, but somehow it's still in Team Heretics' pocket.
Can Navi bring something here with a bit of an opening door? It's going to be Gary with the hypercharge trying to bring things round. Bit of a super of desperation here from Marco just to have that additional damage to the shot. Spiderlings out from Heretics. A hypercharge from Chaos does get the shot that gives them the super off the back of it and connects it. Oh, just short! Sabine now pushing forwards. He's got additional speed. He's got the heals going forwards as well. Dangerous times for Navi. Can they defend this? It's missed by Marco. That should have been in.
Off the crossbar, and Navi will survive the onslaught. Enraged now up the middle of the map. iChaos forced all the way back. Perfectly timed respawns, and with 15 on the clock, Team Heretics on the back heels. Ball still off your screen. Speed zone coming in as Gale will grab the ball. Spiderlings going down a hypercharge. Ultimately leading to nothing, but they trap him in just the nick of time. Super shot available for Garo. He's got one shot. Bang! Nails it down the left hand in.
Navi with the ice. Capitalizing down on that mistake was crucial, but to ensure the set win against that much pressure was really quite admirable for Navi. Now we are all tied up. Now they stand a real chance. I remember before the show looking forward at the actual map board for things, and Navi are looking really good in some of these maps still to come. So to balance and even out the playing field now, I mean, looking ahead to the next map, open it out in the open, they've got a 75% win rate. So now with that confidence to be able to do something with this could be a closer bet.
Much more competitive second set. In the draft, I think, gave them a more fighting chance than what we saw in set number one. This is what I expect out of Navi. I still pick Team Heretics, but by no means do I think they're heavy favorites. We just have yet to see how Enraged kind of meshes into this roster. He's obviously a talented player. He was obviously coveted by multiple teams, being with Nova before this, coming in later in the season last time. Just a lot of drama going down. It's made this match just that much better. It would feel wrong if this was anything less than several sets down the line.
I mean, that was so close. There was one shot away from Garo not being able to even attempt to score that shot. So I really feel like it was just very close. I want to see back actually that shot as well from Marco, just to kind of see with a clean pair of eyes whether there was a different place that ball could have potentially gone. But regardless, I mean, a really healthy amount of points above his name for the DPS and the takedown. So I think he had a good game regardless, but it's these little microcosms of mistakes that can prove costly.
I will say the good news, unless I read it wrong, on the left-hand side of that whiteboard, what is the very top thing said? Acceptable mistakes, missed shots. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. To your point, though, I mean, that was such a razor-thin margin. There is a real chance that there was no potential for that to go in, but it sure looked like there was a good shot of that. Now all of a sudden things tied up. So Navi, this match arguably hinged on that moment. If they had lost that in overtime 2-0, they've already been in this spot a month ago, obviously with a different teammate again, but nonetheless still the core of this roster. So instead, Team Heretics are going to have to put up much more of a fight. Love seeing that Navi respond here. Now we walk into a completely different game mode, set of map as well. We saw a lot of Gale. There's not going to be any of that. This is going to be much more of a long-ranged affair. I expect brawlers like Angelo and Eve to come in if it's anything like yesterday. Some of these more niche brawlers that don't show up everywhere else.
Well, since the patch, since the update, Navi scripted this match 29 times and won it 22 of them. So I do feel like they are tried and tested here. We'll see shortly how their drafts will fare, but you've got to be really, really careful around those brawler, utility based brawlers like Jae Young, Meeple as well. Jae Young not going to be banned out here. The Mina is though, as well as the G and the Brock, the Gus, the Squeak, and the Byron here. So let's see how they feel about things. Definitely for me, the big one missing here is Crow. That's going to be a first pick worthy brawler here for sure, in my opinion. Potentially, Bo could have a place here as well, open to it. Angelo as well. Definitely could be an option here for both sides. But Meeple, cannot forget that particular brawler here either.
Couple ones to touch on as well. Pierce is a long-range sharpshooter, will probably come in. Yeah, we imagine that Crow's going to be the first overall pick here, but as we progress, I think Pierce has a real potential now that I don't see him in the ban stage, and I have to call it out because we did see it some yesterday. It's one that's been scrimmed a lot, and we often coin it as cheesy. Gray and Doug still a real potential here now that neither of those are banned. When I see something like Crow, I don't necessarily think that's an instant click, for example, but again, would not be doing my job if I didn't mention there was real potential for a little cheese strat.
No, I'm with you. And I like the Brock ban as well. I think that's kind of one of those brawlers which is a must-have pick, actually. I'm really going towards it. Eve going to come in. I don't necessarily mind it, but I don't necessarily love it either. When Angelo's around, I think it kind of makes sense to go with Eve, as Angelo will have a tough time playing into that particular brawler. But many will kind of favour the Angelo on this map, packing that punch. RT going to come forwards as well. That will give definitely a helping hand. Eve, having those oppositions be marked up, allowing your damage to go further against brawlers like Eve, that's going to be a helping hand.
Crow's just a great brawler in general, so I really don't fault Navi on that right-hand in, but I do think grabbing spawners and somebody that can traverse over water is also a great way to equip your team with a little firepower. And RT, I would think, arguably is the most balanced, safe choice on this map. Has the capabilities of being a longer-range brawler as well, also as the fog closes in, the short range, has the static that he can drop, become that Jackie-esque form, and be a huge passive-aggressive brawler, offense into defense. Now, this is one that Navi are rolling with that is going to, I imagine, power up another teammate, somebody much more aggressive, because Jae Young is somebody that deals okay damage, but he brings speed, the heals, unless he's running the extra bonus that he gets from his gadget. Definitely not going to be one they're looking for to grab the kills.
Yeah, I do like the Jae Young. It's that kind of brawler that just allows you to maneuver around the map. Crow having a faster movement speed as well can close the gap even better. And with the buffies as well, now with Crow, you can pop hypercharge and just get so much value off the back of those shots that return to you as well. So, Bo, I was thinking about it, and I'm okay with it, I feel. Especially with the Crow, which is the most dangerous brawler in this comp. I feel like with the Bow, it's going to allow you to get that utility cycled faster.
Just curious to me that they go Jae Young, but they don't really pick a super aggressive brawler. I mean, they're going to be able to get to the middle a lot faster unless left side elects to go with the Brock or something and tear it down. But obviously, that's even banned out. So I think they're just going to count on that water to get even to position there early. Other than that, though, a little bit of a unique Jae Young composition, I would say. When I do see these brawlers, it's oftentimes going to be more in the sense of powering up another teammate, not as a standalone, if you will.
Bell, not the flashiest of brawlers at all, but certainly, a Crow going to think twice if marked up about going in with that big super jump. Let's see. I mean, how do you feel about the Bell? I mean, it's kind of a brawler which certainly since the introduction of buffies has taken a bit of a step back in terms of how often we see it.
In this specific situation, I think it makes a lot of sense because Jae Young revolves around team play. It's not going to be like a left, middle, right traditionally like you would see, but because of Jae Young, he does his best work when he's around other teammates, so I think that's going to cut off the potential for healing. It's going to force them to step out a little bit. Now Bell also outranges Jae Young, so I actually think in this specific instance, it does make sense to me.
Going to want to hunker down with that Jae Young, so now he might have to rethink how close their proximities are, those shots that can ricochet. And already you can see how that deflected straight off the super totem as well. So, look at that. As well as Drake outstaying his welcome. That's disastrous. And now, Garo and Enraged just completely exposed here. What a disastrous first round.
Yeah, I mean, Enraged is just going to burst a gadget just to try and stay up a little bit longer, maybe charge slightly more towards that super. But Navi essentially go 0 for 3 and don't charge any supers, really. I mean, there was nothing good coming out of that.
Well, I'm sure Garo will have another super totem available here soon, but Marco is going to be keen-eyed to take them down quickly. Team Heretics on the back foot here. Obviously, Chaos can go over that left-hand side bridge. The helping hand of the quality of which Eve comes with. Oh, Gary's marked up here as well and couldn't deflect it in time.
Chaos just revolving around a little pond on that left-hand side. A little extra speed will get Garo into position. They have to watch out for these mines. We'll add a little extra vision. Garo, of course, can be triggering all of those due to Sabim stepping on them. The long range, Sabim already having that super too. The longer this drags out, I still think Team Heretics have a way to combat the enemy team.
Oh, that's close from there from Sabim, just about. survived it on, he would have been stunned surely. And again, Gary has to place down these totems, but it's really just deflected against the shots that he's marked up now. Oh, that heal just came in clutch. He's so low. And Drake now popping the speed, but it's really a dangerous time for Navi here. Yeah, just fall like cards. I mean, there's nothing they can do here as Heretics wrap this up quick.
Yeah, just another one where I questioned the draft a little bit. I mean, the Jae shocked me in the sense that I didn't feel like it was going to synergize super well with this team. I think, once again, this is similar to me in the set number 1, where Team Heretics have the 6th pick. They can respond to this. It's not necessarily a cheeky or a bad brawler coming in from Navi's side. It's just one that I don't believe in as much as I used to. I mean, it still shows up a lot in Bounty and Knockout at a professional meta, but I just think into these individual matchups on paper, you know, 1v1 versus Bell, 1v1 versus RT, I really like Team Heretics' odds in all of those.
Yeah, I feel like Navi just are not making this comp work for themselves at all. Maybe they just weren't anticipating how Heretics were going to play into things, but there just doesn't seem to be much to say for it, really. There's not really many opportunities. Heretics are quite happy to sit back. They don't feel pressured by it. They're just waiting for the gasman, just making their move to come forwards.
Marco once again, long-range sharpshooter, operating on that right-hand side. Sabine taking the mid, and IKS, of course, uniquely can travel over that water. Nice little dodge there. Could have been rather dangerous as well. Enraged, I think, the one thing I will say is Crow's a great brawler, but in this situation, he's more mid-range. The rest of them are long-range. He's going to have to work really hard and get in position if he wants a chance at charging that super.
But now, Heretics are on the back foot. A reverse polarity from Marco again connects with Enraged. Really nice shot. At an unusual angle, he capitalized down on 2 consecutive onto the bow, but a missed mark as well. So now a chance for Navi if they can just heal up, and with the help of Jae, you've got to expect that from Drake. Now coming in, popping the shield as well for Enraged. There's a takedown there of Sabine. The best chance the Navi have had so far, and they get around for their troubles.
A squishier composition, but once they were in position, they could do much better work. Drage once again speeding up his allies. They're going to be able to rush to the middle of the map and make sure that Team Heretics can't take control. Distribute those bow mines early, so once again they're going to gain some visibility towards the spawn side entrance for Sabine. IKS, of course, clear as day when he travels over that water. This is perfect once again from Navi. I think making great adjustments. They're getting Enraged in position early. Team Heretics have to fall back. The one thing I will say is these spawners can be a little pesky. They're going to have to waste some ammo on this for sure.
Good jukes from Gary for the most part to push forwards, but then took a few there from Sabine and Marco. And Marco's got a hypercharge. Now, couldn't find the reverse polarity connection, but now will surely land this mark with the helping hand of that hypercharge. No doubt about it. Enraged has got his hypercharge as well. But look, keep an eye on Marco at that bottom right-hand side. He's got to land this.
Marco has a way to defend himself as well. They have the marker. There goes another reverse polarity. The cheeky angle doesn't quite connect there, but hypercharge will go down. Perfect contact on the bow, who has to fall back. Rage activating hypercharge. Knows he has to take a stand right here, right now. Totem out. Trying to charge those supers a little bit easier, as Enraged has one in his back pocket as well. Can swoop in at a moment's notice. Nobody going down quite yet. A standstill as this fog closes in. Shots being rained in. Team Heretics falling low. Down goes the first. Navi, 3 members standing tall, but low HP. Drage doesn't have the heals up, but thankfully for them, they get the elimination, and the backup plan, of course, Crow diving in.
Much better from Navi. Taking their time, ensuring to not feed over this utility to Team Heretics. That was the difference maker for me. It just felt like they were much playing more together. Like, they were moving as a unit. Whereas in the previous time, we just saw them going down one by one like flies, and just like, it just deflates your ego that so quickly when one person falls so early on. So ensuring that everyone stays on their feet, waiting for the gas, that's the real thing that's moving Heretics into a position which they're not ready for.
I think Navi's composition, not necessarily the easiest to pull off, but it was nice to see that they've got the skills, that they've got the potential to pull it off anyways. Team Heretics, all long-range brawlers. I mean, they always have a chance at landing shots on the other end, but I love that in games 2 and the start here of game number 3, that Navi are able to move up the map. They need to assert themselves if they want a chance at all here.
Wow. Good shots there from Sabine, who's taking that far right-hand side lane now. Marco not really connecting as well as he probably needs to at this point in time. Enraged taking a few shots from IKS, but still has the high ground. Very close there. Drake coming in with the support now as the gas closes in. And Heretics are looking like they're landing a lot of these shots.
Drage getting risky with it. Low HP, has to rely on Drage here. Finally, Team Heretics have some possession. A nice bounce shot there. It will make contact with Drage and bring him down. Sabine cleans up the right-hand side. There's no chance for Navi to do anything here. Crow knows this. Just going to step back into the fog, concede this round. Doesn't want to feed any more supers. Anytime you see players do that at a professional level, it's not them quitting. It's more just them knowing they need to conserve a little bit.
Well, Navi now up against the might of this. As one more round to Heretics, it will be a set. They cannot afford to falter. Super Totem goes down for Gero. Tapping into Marco, but only just the one shot actually out of that entire burst connected. Speed now for Drage potentially here. I'm loving these reverse polarities from Marco. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't, but they're quite creative.
My thoughts, just shoot your shot. The worst thing that happens is you miss in the early game, especially. You're not really using it to get kills. You're just trying to get closer to charging those hypercharge and then super. And every single one of those extra shots gets Marco into that position. Of course, he's got one in his pocket right now. So Beam on the right-hand side, of course, going to be able to maintain as well. Drage easily can cycle those out. What I'm looking for here is for Navi to start getting some shots of their own. I think Marco know that they have the advantage. There's no real supers available. Another great shot, and Drage will go down. In the 3v2 situation, Navi may have control, but they certainly don't have the numbers.
Garrett's juking for his life here, but now on 3,000 HP so low, and Rage trying to find an angle here. The hypercharge of Sabim is just too hard to juke. And a set goes the way of Heretics, now 2-1 up. And this is now getting very, very dangerous. Navi have got to take this all the way to a 5th set to stand any chance of winning and go through to the semis now.
Unfortunately, my fear for Navi's composition came to life. It just felt like a really difficult one to pull off. We saw in game number 2, clearly they could do it. These are talented players, but when I look at the two brawlers, and especially now in hindsight that we see it play out, the range just wasn't there. I feel like in Knockout, you need some kind of advantage. You have to have a way to generate some offense, and for Navi, it was pressure. It was getting this speed, moving up the map early, and then relying on jukes. You either have to be really good at dodging, or you have to rely on Team Heretics to really miss their shots. In game number 2, it was a perfect wave of that. But in games 1 and 3, really all Team Heretics had to do was win the early game. They couldn't charge enough supers on the other end. No swoop to dive in, no Jae Young hyper charges. There was just nothing instigating enough to grab those kills, and especially in a mode where there's only one life, you can see it clear as day. I mean, the stat line very much went towards Team Heretics.
Yeah, Marco really playing this bell in spectacular fashion. A brawler which, like I said, coming into the match, it just hasn't had the most of a spotlight since the buff is coming into play, but it made so much sense. You can see the shots ricocheting between the Bo Super Totem and Gero, and with the Jae Young as well. Everyone wants to hunker behind that to get the most amount of heals and speed. It's shut down more often than not, so I'm really pleased to see him really fare that brawler well.
Yesterday, it was kind of like a running joke that Ark doesn't really like Bo. How are you warming up to
I like Bo, and I've never said that I don't like Bo. I like Bo, I just don't want to see as much of it as we are. I feel like it's a bit overrated at the moment. We saw it a great deal in the Road to the Brawl Cup in Southeast Asia, and it just didn't really, for me, feel like the win rates warranted even picking it in the first place. It just did not win games.
Apart from the win rates thing, I swear you said the same thing about Tro. You love him, but he's a bit overrated. We see him too much.
That gives him too much credit, I'll say. So.
He's not even at the desk and he's catching strays. Anyways, Team Heretics so far looking very good, but these are some of the closest matches we've seen all day. But Esports vs Kebab was a 3-0. This one is going into set 4 for sure. And now Team Heretics has the opportunity to close things out here, of course. But this kinda could be going all the way.
I feel Team Heretics has just been a tad more consistent in the draft category. I feel like Drage is a very powerful drafter. It's somebody that's coached a professional team like Totem in the past. He obviously knows what he's doing. Today, though, it hasn't necessarily felt like this is 50-50 the whole way. I have favored Team Heretics a few times, especially in that set number 1. Really feel like it was a harebrained scheme, but maybe pulling it too much. And then in that previous set as well. Again, it was clearly winnable. They got a game, but I don't necessarily think it was the easiest. I think this is more of a 50-50 draft. Navi have a chance, but if we keep seeing the drafts the way things have been going, I think Team Heretics could really close out here in 3.
I agree as well. I feel like this is a very Heretics-based map as well. They feel very comfortable with this. Navi have got to really pull out all the stops here and get these drafts and these picks and bans really on point. I want to see maybe Finks escape through the bans and not be picked up, because if it isn't banned, you've got to imagine that it's going to play a big role here. I think Lou's coming back a little bit on this particular map. Mina, of course, can certainly do a great deal. And I'm looking for Kenji. I'm surprised we haven't seen more Kenji come through yet with the amount of Mortis global bans that we've seen so far here today. But Finks really here is a bit of a difference maker.
Finks and Chester, the two brawlers we see here very often on the EMEA region at least. Yesterday we saw so much Lou, you already mentioned it, Ark. I don't have it even in my stats here. Lou was something that just slipped through the bans yesterday in East Asia. They seem to rate that brawler quite high. Now I really want to see if maybe in scrims EMEA didn't like to play him, but they kind of had a cheeky look at what happened yesterday and also like him for this one. Now Finks is actually going to be banned out. Crow once more, we mentioned it, how strong he is, and he's going to be banned out super often because this time he slid through the global brawler bans.
Curious if this is Lou or Charlie plus something. I think maybe a Draco could come in here as well. It was an early selection oftentimes in East Asia yesterday. It just wouldn't surprise me when you see that safe pick on the right-hand side. they have 2 picks they have to make here, and I think going anti-tank / a mid plus a tank of their choice would be a really good way to put some pressure on that right-hand and kind of force them to take an anti-tank as well, and then they can once again go for a 6 pick that matches up.
I like this start. Chester, Kenji potentially as well would be a nice pairing here, and it takes away the counter for sure. The Lu could be dangerous with the Ruffs, so it's about whether really Heretics are looking to use that hypercharge for themselves and feed over to Chester. Of course, the Kenji can really just evade a lot of that freeze as well, despite even the hypercharge being with a Lu, which has yet to show its face. But I think it's likely possible here. I mean, BB could be another brawler pick, something that could go on the aggressive to, kind of mirror that same idea with the Kenji. But I think Kenji just has a bit more utilization in this kind of map mode. Lu, it is going to be Lu. So that takes a little bit away if the Ruffs pairing was the idea on the side of Navi.
Again, Lu was barely picked in scrims in EMEA, but yesterday had some great showings on Hot Zone, and if you ever see this guy, it's only ever gonna be on Hot Zone. With the Ice Rink, he's just gonna take pressure away from the opponents immediately, gives yourself some time to set up again and get some valuable percentages in mid. So with Lu, they have some range on their side as well. On the right-hand side, we already have that support brawler in Ruff, some range. They could go aggro now. I would still see a BB, even though into the Lu it might be a little bit too aggressive. Stu is kind of that mid option, kind of aggressive, can do a lot in the backlines, going into the opponent's spawn, but can also just hold control for your own side. Now next to the BB, Pierce could be another one that brings in some more range even for that right-hand side. And with the Stu, they can break open the map with the Ruffs as well if they choose the right star power. So maybe long range is the answer here, Kenny.
They could triple down on that. The one thing that Navi does possess completely is going to be wall break potential, because now they've got the Colonel Ruffs and the Stu, so they can either wipe away wall control entirely, or they can double down on it. Gale coming in once again, and I'm a little surprised to see him this early, just because the left-hand end hasn't selected any form of tank. I feel like it's a game of chicken with both of these sides. You mentioned it, but Stu is kind of an in-between. He is an assassin, but he's not necessarily beefy. He's just going to be skating around trying to dodge all the ice ring shots, the freezes out of Lu, and then to somebody like Chester, I feel like that's a pretty neutral matchup.
They kind of have to have something in the pocket in the way the coin toss has gone. Heretics now really should deviate away from tanks and kind of take away what the Gale can obtain off the back of things. Mina, agility, it's going to be struggling. The Gale now will not necessarily be as strong. I feel like the Stu's a great pick, though. I mean, it plays really well into Lu. The speed zone as well is going to deflate what the Lu can bring if they want to keep those walls up and utilize them themselves. So I quite like how this has gone, but that Mina, it's really often overlooked, and it's come up now. It's dangerous.
Stu is also going to feed less supers to the opponents here than as the likes of BB, for example. I really like the right-hand side comp here, but probably side with that one. Kenny would say the same because they have a Gale, he loves the brawler, and we've seen so many times today. I did not expect him to be quite as highly rated from these pro players as he was today.
Gale's one of my sleeper picks for EMEA specifically. We might see it some more in the future weekend, but this has definitely exceeded my expectations. It's nice to feel assurance that my favorite brawler is not completely buns. It's nice to see him at the top of the tier list here, but battling against Lu, a battle of ice and fire for sure on this map, as Mina's going to be charging her way up this left-hand side. The windmill, while it has been nerfed several times, still a very powerful asset. Garo is somebody that's going to have to just wait until that completely goes down. This is an early pickup, I would say, for Enrage, who's going for that wall break instantly, tearing things down. I think it's exactly what they want, especially when dealing with a Mina, and it just opens up more space for Stu.
Marco goes down there despite the heal. Garo playing again on this Stu is a dangerous prospect. He's very accomplished with these brawlers, and they are running the speed zone as well on the side of Navi. So these loose shots can be harder to hit for sure. Rage there in the middle, souped up by the helping hand of that rough supply drop. Speaking of which, Rage will fall on that right-hand side to Sabine. As now, oh, that was a great value there from Drake to get Chaos taken care of. And Sabine is going to have to fight for his life here against 3 members of Navi to stay alive in the mid.
The slowdown from Drake has been super helpful just in making sure that they can land those extra spots, especially in team play. When you have multiple persons looking at the same enemy, it's really easy to line things up. Speed zone once again being distributed by Garo. Windmill up for Sabine. Hansen, left-hand side, just trying to do their best to find a frag. Will take one up into the sky, but Garo, of course, can keep his distance. This is still Navi with complete control. The extra sandbag there for assistance. It just feels like there's a lot in Navi's pocket that they can use to deal with this.
Yeah, staying present on the zone. All the heal from Marco comes through. Does manage to get it off in time and not go down like previously so. And now the Rage falling on the top right-hand side. Heretics can start to take an affirming role in this mid. Garo, though, not taking things lying down, finds Sabine and tries to heal up behind the enemy lines here, tries to get some shots to be able to pinch him in Rage on that top right-hand side, but it's not enough. Now Heretics are creeping forward towards 75%.
iChaos with some Drake jukes just to maintain control, and now they've even taken the lead here. Drade's trying to match in the middle as well. iChaos backed away, but Marco is lurking. He's got a hypercharge super, gonna use it right now. Just a little extra speed boost. Gonna try and time this perfectly to back them off. Launches one left-hand side. Rage, no chance. Sabine now in perfect position, just hold on. The aggro brawler is going to front line. Meanwhile, iChaos, Marco just sitting in the back. Hero just gonna have to force it at this point because otherwise it's gonna be the inevitable Team Heretics now on match point.
Navi played really well up until that point, but it just took one moment for Heretics to capitalize right towards the end. That cannot afford to happen again, or Navi will be failing to make the semi-finals yet again this month. I feel like this comp can work. I feel like there's definitely prospects on both sides of the coin here. But Navi definitely are going to be feeling this pressure now, as a bold roster movement might be leading to the same result.
Team Heretics did a great job of just maintaining pressure. And I don't think this is the easiest game for Sabine, at least into Stu. I think Navi have their choice of matchup. This is the one they want. Once again, that windmill gadget will go down, so a protective shield going around Sabine, but it quickly goes away. Speed zone for Garo. Now he wants to get aggressive, trying to lurk and get a kill onto Sabine. This would be a nice advantage. It's allowing for Rage. Just kind of pinky toe his way in there. These sandbags keep going down, Rage rotating in. I think great heads-up plays out of Navi to just focus on the objective more than the kills.
Marco playing with fire there, 92 HP, Sabine as well, only just above 1,500 here. The Heretics not bold enough to get into the zone. Look at this, falling like cars now. This is Chaos alone. And Navi dominate this mid, approaching now 40%. This is looking far, far better.
This is the best we've seen out of Navi in this set for sure, but one of the better moments, I would say, of the day. Now they need to take advantage. Their tournament lives are on the line. They're facing a longtime rival. You heard it in the interview. iChaos wanted this matchup. He was hyped up. It would be quite the blunder if they couldn't get this match point taken care of and win it in this set.
He's zoned down for Garo. Marco on 140 HP there, and Garo still staying patient because he knows that his team are creeping further forwards. Now with the ice stone depleting, it might be time for Navi to get back onto the mid. A nice blustery blow. Marco will fall. The windmills protecting Speed, but only Justin. He will fall now as well. All three members of Navi on the zone. Only 12% of objective power to Heretics. It's all falling apart.
After a grudge match in game number 1, Navi in this game 2 have been unfazed, nearly perfect, flawless to get through this blue roster in Team Heretics, and once again, they will be forced to another match point. We talked about it before, but this one just feels right to go to a set 5. It's very personal. There's been a lot of drama revolving around this. A roster change coming into this month. Lana dropped, forced out of the roster. And just 1 year ago, Drage in the exact same position. Now he's trying to lead a new roster against a previous teammate, a long-time rival. Boy, it would be something if he could surge a comeback.
I was looking through the matches and the maps on this matchup prior to things. It felt like it absolutely could go to a fit. This is essentially one of those maps and modes where both sides are 50-50, so it's really going to be a testament to both as to how they handle things. So one thing's for sure, Heretics win this game, they have proof for semis. If Navi can win this game, it goes to the fit. So far, Heretics with a better start, but all crumbling down now, and Navi making up for lost time.
One of the focuses on the early start is how quickly do Team Heretics feed Enrage. Not only did Enrage get a kill, instantly got a wall break on that top right-hand side. Now I think it's a full advantage. They're even mixing things up. Enrage just tapping though, lasers down that right-hand side, and the aggro brawler in Mina doesn't stand a chance. Now they've already got a hypercharged super down as well. Enrage can either feed himself again or feed this off to Drage. Now they've got a full defensive mechanism that they can work with. Anytime Gale activates super, it's basically a free pushback on, and they can retake control.
I feel like Navi are feeling very comfortable with this draft, and it is working so well so far. Garo trying to land these stamps to Sabine, doing pretty well, but somehow Sabine comes out on top. He's going to sit on that top left-hand side, but look at the objective. Navi now approaching 75%, looking so strong. Heretics have got to retake this.
There's the pushback. And now Navi, complete possession of the mid. Low HP on that top left-hand side. Drage with an easy elimination. Another one falls as well. iChaos just forced to run for the hills, and he'll have to take a reset. This one, most assuredly, going to a set 5. It's been dramatic off the field, and now on the field, we get maximum distance. We're going all the way. iChaos versus Drage. Long-time rivalry pushes us.
No lag. That was literally what we saw. Heretics standing still, deflated, but not yet defeated, it must be said. But going to a 5th set now, they can't be feeling on top. And Navi have got so much wind in their sails, and I feel like they could go all the way now.
And Enraged went hammock. We also see it here in the stats. 11 kills on him, the highest DPS in the round. Played very well, also clocked some percentages, but that Gale in mid was just standing solid. Rage barely ever went down. Really good job on this side of Navi this round. And Team Heretics, they did take the first game. It was already match point. They just came close and couldn't quite finish it.
2 match points is what they had, and it's definitely going to haunt them if things don't go their direction in the next one. This is a team that definitely has some pressure on them. Marco and Sabine, phenomenal last year. One of the things you highlighted is the fact that since they've been playing together, at least since 2025, they've qualified for every single month. A lot of those times, too, upper bracket as well. And now they're being hired by Team Heretics, iChaos, who has qualified for every single World Finals that has ever existed in this game, picked these 2 players. And now they're being pushed to a set 5. Real potential they go down in yet another quarterfinals. That would be a devastating result for such a large organization.
For me, I got to touch on the elephant in the room in the fact that despite what happens next, Navi are looking like a better squad. This is the same team that they faced off in the February monthly qualifiers, the same team that swept them. They're now taking it to a 5th set. They took for esports to a 5th set in their qualifier this month. It's looking better.
And then Rage pulled a lot of weight in that last set. We saw it in the set, so definitely a nice addition to the roster. And it seems to be the strategy this year overall to just add those newer players. Yes, and Rage did play in some very big tournaments before, last year he made it to Worlds. But he's still kind of that rookie in my eyes because he only has 1 round of all of this on his back, 1 year. Whereas we have a player like a Chaos in this round where, yeah, he has been playing for 6 years at this point? 7?
Yeah, a very long time. And I think credit to Enraged as well in the sense that he's doing schooling as well. Like, he is multitasking throughout all of this. That's incredibly respectable. And I think a lot of times when we look at flashy players in the game, we're going to talk about them on the Minas, the Kenjis, the Morrises of the world. Man, he just popped off with a Colonel Ruffs. What are we doing out here? He was the standout in my mind. Winning those early matchups in game 2 and 3 set them up to take it all the way. It makes sense to me, and he's starting to show why he was a valuable roster addition.
We're heading to Layer Cake, and now this is going to be our last set in this series. No matter what happens, Navi or Team Heretics can take this away and move into the semi-finals. For either of them, it's going to be a tough opponent waiting for them there already. Foot Esports made it through the quarterfinal number 1, and both of these teams want a shot at defeating this beast last month. Foot versus Team Heretics with a 3-1, so Heretics really wants their revenge.
I mean, I think Navi want their revenge from that qualifier as well. Like, I can see them going the way, and I think that if there's any team today that could take down Foot, it's probably going to be Navi if they can get this set under their belts. And it's not going to be an easy one at all going into Layer Cake. Looking towards the draft, I kind of want to see brawlers like Spike be highly valued. I think Squeak's kind of one that Team Heretics like to kind of flaunt around here. Crow as well, being this not globally banned, kind of needs to be on the ban list here for me. And I think it probably should be. But still looking for Kenji, Ali, those kind of assassination-based brawlers, they're quite strong here.
Navi really must have convinced you, Ark, in those last 4 sets that you also voted for Team Heretics to win this initially.
Yeah, I knew it was going to go to a 5th from just looking through the strengths and weaknesses of both teams in their scrims on this map set. So I could be quite confident with that being a 50-50. But here is where it's going to come down to, really. And Navi have historically struggled when it gets to that 50 final set, at least this year.
Well, we're going to see if they can finally close it out. Team Heretics already had a match point. Navi is now fighting for their own. We're in Layer Cake. I mentioned it before, Kenny. We don't see throwers as often. Ziggy is one of those that we do see quite often, but he's almost always banned out on a map like this one.
This is one of my flares of EMEA, and we actually saw it come through on the ban stage a lot, so I think maybe part of the reason I didn't see it as much in practices as much is because it's hitting the ban stage so frequently. There it is right there. So double thrower being banned on that right-hand side. I wonder if they're going to take one of their own. They throw Shade in this who can go through the walls, get through thrower. I wonder if this is a Juju on the onset. I think maybe this is what they want.
Could well be, honestly. It's a fantastic one to make work here. You can also, of course, walk across the water as well. Definitely brawlers like Spike, still going to be an option here. Squeak, Crow band out, good to see, happy for it. Gene band as well, so Chester, going to be the first pick from Navi. It's a very safe brawler for sure. Kit could be a problem here as well, so I think that's a kind of good brawler to have in your back pocket for that eventuality.
Chester is one of these brawlers that we haven't seen in quite some time. For anyone that's just tuned in this month, haven't last year or this last month in February, it's going to be a huge surprise. Chester is played so often this weekend because he deals out so much damage. He's a good brawler to pick up for area control. Brawlers like Otis often banned out, so Chester's just the next best brawler. And even though he doesn't have a Buffy, he's even preferred over a Shelly, for example, who basically does the same thing, dishes out a lot of damage up close. Spike now picked up on the left-hand side. He does have a Buffy. He's the most big brawler on this map, so no surprises here. Jean would be the second. Banned out here. Crow comes next. Banned out. Ziggy banned out. We have Mortis in the global bans already. There's not that many options left, but they still want to go with some aggression here. BB technically open, but with Kaze, you're just a tad bit quicker to get the blue star.
Curious to see if something like a Kenji comes in this stage as well. So 2-3 turn just went down for Spike and Kaze. I think that's good to grab your anti-tank, a little distance in there. I think it's a totally fine lane to something like Chester. And then you need something to have a little pressure onto the enemy team. They don't go for a hard tank. They go in the more assassin route. And I think Kaze just in general with having mechanics of invisibility with the gadget can stretch the medium range with the daggers. And there's the Kenji I was talking about. I think this is just going to be Navi's choice of trying to do the exact same thing. The Penny's one though that I didn't necessarily bank on.
Yeah, I liked your shout there with the Juju, but I think that Kaze now maybe steering them slightly away. Great shout the Kenji as well. I'm surprised we haven't seen it more, especially as I think that we're going to see many more Mortis global bans for the rest of today. Seems like EMEA just don't want to take that chance. Even teams like Foot Esports, who are so good with Mortis, saying, nah, we're going to say that that's one brawler we want to eradicate. So a third and final pick here for Team Heretics, and I kind of wonder where they want to fare with this. It could be Kit, honestly. It wouldn't be the worst of ideas to combine with the Kaze, but yeah, the Squeak is one of the, well, it's the second highest brawler pick that they have in their scrims on this map. It's got a pretty decent win rate for them as well at 63%, so I'm quite enjoying this Heretics comp, quite honestly, with the aggression. They've got potential heals at the back of the Spike, control. They've also got further control with the Squeak.
Kaze and Kenji are going to fight for the blue star at the beginning. Both of those rosters picked up one aggressive brawler, then two that just offer a lot of control. This is going to be a super exciting bounty map simply because they have this aggressive pick. So Kenny, is it going to be Kaze or Kenji getting the blue star?
Ooh, I think Kaze typically wins that one for Blue Star, but we'll find out here in just a moment. There's Marco swooping in, grabbing it just in the nick of time. Team Heretics just a month ago absolutely smoked Navi, threw them down to the wayside lower bracket, and so much so that Navi had to make a change. Brought in Enraged, and now in his debut match, going all the way to a set 5 against long-time rivals. This is going to be one for the ages, a very monumental match for both of these squads to decide the year. It's Navi with early possession of the map.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Brawl Cup looming in. Now, this really is a kind of make or break month for both of these two teams here who've struggled realistically to do much more than exit in the quarterfinals now. Enraged, really, the Lions Den goes down immediately, hands over stars, and this pressure now for Drage and Gary to decide, do we stay here, do we go back, and choose to stay put. So he's now back and joining. And honestly, just 2 kills would be enough here for Navi if they want to try to go on the aggressive.
Navi were lucky that they could still hold on to where they were on the map. Now they're being forced away with this Spike Super to deal them back. Needle grenades going down. Great jukes coming out of Navi. They have to find a way to get kills. Enraged to cycle in a super, healing off the respective shots. A life plant there to push the enemies away. Oftentimes you're going to see that just be a giant meat shield for the team.
There is the sticky residue in that mid. It's going to force then Navi to work around things, and Unshotted Chaos forcing that left-hand side, throwing some shots straight at the Kenji. Doesn't get the most amount of value off the back of it. Enraged being very cautious there, shooting to dodge those curveball shots. And here is where it gets sticky. 25 seconds on the clock, and Navi have not got a single kill just yet.
Navi are waiting to play one move here. 20 seconds, they're going to swoop in, attempt to grab the kills, and walk away with a blue star slash lead. Chaos dropping a super as a result, and Penny's just going to have to play from the long distance. Drage swoops in left-hand side, grabs a kill, and Rage dashing, dies. 10 on the clock, and Penny the only survivor left. Team Heretics just holding patient, making sure they're saving all these shots. Couple extra supers for insurance, but Navi nowhere within striking distance. This is now match point number 3 for Team Heretics. This is it for Navi. No more second chances. They have to be perfect the rest of the way.
Yeah, tough spot here because Heretics just kind of sat back. They were just sitting behind the walls. They got the blue star. The move has to be made by Navi, and it just took so long to really kind of brew up to it. I need to see more from this Penny turret. I need to see pressure being applied. There was none of that in that last game. And that's only going to come from forcing the hand of Heretics, getting to positions of being able to land some shots. If Heretics are playing so passive, that's a hard thing to do.
Navi once again playing very aggressively. Drage even swooping into that right-hand side of the map against Marco. That is a tough brawler to go head-to-head with as well. You mentioned it. Penny turret needed, especially if they're going to try and take control of the middle of the map. It would be awesome if they could get behind these indestructibles and get those walls down. Now Garo under heavy fire has to retreat early on. Navi not able to get any tags, no real supercharge. It's just Team Heretics with a couple now sitting with them, and they still are comfortable in their back spawn. It's something they did all of that first game.
Yeah, good aggression there from Heretics. Scary's landing some shots. Probably maybe 1 or 2 shots away from gaining a turret as well here. Maybe 1 more would seal it, so really cautious here for Heretics. They're really looking for it here, but now stuck, slowed, and goes down.
And Rage now has to make up for lost ground, takes 1 shot, 46 HP, has a super just in the nick of time as well, but goes down. It's a trade, but still 2 stars, and most importantly, Marco hasn't had to move a muscle. He's not been forced out of the positioning. He's the one with the blue star.
Still no sign of this Penny Mortar. Garo needs to find this shot, finally gets it. That was the one that's been lingering for so long as Heretics been cautious. I don't think it's any time for a hypercharge. Realistically, he's got to go with it now, sure. But Enraged really struggling to close the gap with this Kenji pick.
Interesting positioning for that as well, because it's an easy super toss from iChaos to go ahead and get that on there. Penny barrel going down is a little extra protection. Curious to see what Drage's super is. I'm sure he's going to harbor that for a while.
Oh, lovely snipe. But then a return of fire as Heretics now still in the lead with a 2 stars. An aggressive turret there from Garo, but it is being targeted. The hypercharge there of Chaos should seal it. 10 seconds on the clock.
Drage with a super in his pocket, needs to use it now, has to get aggressive, has done a lot of talking, made a roster change, and Enraged needs to make a big moment happen. It's a trade, 1 star being the separator, Enraged dashing in, out, but a swap as well. Team Heretics take care of business and will once again end Navi's tournament early.
Disaster for Navi, who took it to the 5th, but composure for Team Heretics, who got it done. They are in the semi-finals today. It's going to be a tough match for them still to follow. I cannot wait for it though, honestly, because they've done so well to continue on against match points, to get it done regardless. They can be absolutely proud, but the work is still not done for them today. They want to go all the way.
Vamos, Team Heretics. Congratulations, they move on into the semi-finals and get their shot at revenge for a February monthly final where they got beaten by no one other than Foot Esports. They now have the chance to make sure that Foot doesn't even make it into the grand finals. On the other side for Navi, huge commiserations. They at least took us to the 5th set, and how close those games were, King.
Yeah, radio silence from Drage, especially amidst all of this drama, and I think was just ultimately trying to rely on letting the game do the talking, and this time didn't go his way. It's an early roster change, but despite that, now you're 2 months in where Navi have been dropped early. I believe they were the 5th team in the leaderboard walking into this. They were very close to Team Heretics, but in terms of the long term of the season, now it's looking very